The diplomatic tension between South Africa and the United States over allegations of white genocide remain a subject of discourse around the world. The controversy surrounds land reform policies aimed at addressing historical injustices, and the U.S. has raised concerns over reported land expropriations and violence, sparking debates on human rights and property rights. South Africa maintains its land reform aims to rectify past wrongs while protecting all citizens' rights. The situation highlights complexities of balancing historical redress with protecting individual rights, while President Ramaphosa recently visited the White House to clarify the stance with President Trump. Analysts say it was not enough to put the issue to bed. Well, let's see if we can put the issue to bed with Mark Burns, African-American televangelist and President Trump's advisor. He joins me from South Carolina. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
You've just visited South Africa to assess President Trump's claims of white genocide and systematic killing of white farmers. What are your findings?
Well, you know, let's be clear. President Trump never did say white genocide. I think that message is a term that has been going on for a while, obviously prior to President Trump's presidency. I mean, this is something that white Afrikaners and others have been claiming all the way back since President Obama days. And so, I do believe, having been on the ground in South Africa and having spoken to, you know, farm apartheid leaders, spoken to business, white Afrikaners or white South African business leaders, they were shocked and dismayed that that was the claim that was headed to the coming out of the White House because of these 49 South Africans who were claiming that they needed to be out of South Africa because they were feared of their lives. But let me be clear about something, because I don't think there's white genocide. I think, and I also don't think that there's a systematic killing of white people. But there is, however, violence that is happening to minorities in the rural parts of South Africa. And so I wanted that part to be clear. As a minority here in the United States of America, I sympathize with the white Afrikaner who, they are the minority, and there are cases after case after case after case of violence happening to some of these white farmers. Is there systematic killing? No, that's not happening. Are whites in South Africa being harmed in the rural parts, not in the city parts and not in like Johannesburg and Pretoria, etc., but in the rural parts of South Africa? Yes, and that's why President Trump brought it up. So it is clear we need to speak for the minorities around the world. And make sure that prayerfully President Ramaphosa will beef up his security and making sure that all South Africans are safe in the Rainbow Nation. But no, there absolutely is no white genocide happening of white South Africans. There was, however, genocide of blacks for 300 years in South Africa at the hands of the apartheid government. But no, there isn't a genocide of white South Afrikaners.
Mark, I just want to quickly summarize what you said. Just to be clear, there is no white genocide in South Africa, you say? Correct.
Right. And again, and be honest with you, there wasn't the claim. I mean, I really don't even know how the term white genocide even come to be. I'm not sure who's
press
even
conference that happened in May.
White genocide.
Yes, there was a press conference, as you know, between President Cyril Ramaphosa and President Donald Trump, and he didn't invent the phrase, the word, but it was used. I hope my producers can find a clip of the president using the term, but it was used. That was the claim, and you know, the conversation got very heated after that. And I believe that that's one of the reasons why you went to South Africa, to ascertain whether or not there was or there is a white genocide or systematic killing of white farmers. And you have come forward now to say there is no such thing.
I don't think that's happened.
Great.
No, I don't think there's no systematic killing of white people at the hands of black South Africans? Are there some violent black gangbangers that are killing innocent farmers? Absolutely. Is there a high murder rate that's happening in many of these rural parts? Absolutely. Are there some farmers who are being violently killed, suffocated, raped that is happening in South Africa? Absolutely. Are some of these killings race-related? I wouldn't doubt it. The same thing is happening to minorities all over the world, whether you're in India, whether you're in Pakistan. I mean, my office gets human rights violations cries from all nations, almost all nations from around the world, asking for someone like myself to come to the nation to bring attention to their situation. But is there a systematic killing? Is it black people targeting white people? I don't believe that's the case. Is this apartheid in reverse? Do I think that black people are taking revenge on white people for what they did to them for 300 years and dismantling Nelson Mandela's desire to have the rainbow nation, to bring in the whites and the blacks, the colors, the Asians, all of the races to come together as one South Africa? No, I don't believe that. But are there white South Africans that are being hurt and killed and burnt alive and tied up and suffocated? I have the images that are coming into my office. So I want to be clear. I'm not on the right. I'm not on the left. I'm on human rights side. And that goes for all races, and that includes white South Afrikaners. So, no, there isn't white genocide that's happening, but there are highly violent people in some of the rural parts of South Africa that are killing people because of the color of their skin, and those people need to pay. Just like the Julius Malimbas and the Kill the Boer song, that is a hate crime song. Again, I know that may not be popular, but I don't stand for what is popular. I stand for what is right. That's why I supported President Donald Trump for going on 12 years, because it may not be popular, but it was right.
Have you shared your report with President Donald Trump? And
absolutely.
What did he say?
100%.
What did he say?
The White House shared it with as many members as possible so that they understand exactly what I saw firsthand, and that we be very careful about how we're framing the words. My word to the president is to go to the G20 and let's start focusing on issues that are in economics. Right now, black people in South Africa, even though they have a political revolution, they have yet to receive economic revolution, and how even now they are still at the bottom of the totem pole, and unemployment rate is extremely high. And right now we have a 31% tariff over South Africa, and the fact that South Africa is about to be AGOA, which is the trade that South Africa is a part of, they're most likely about to run out. And so that just will hurt the economics of South Africa. But right now there's a $5.5 billion trade deficit between our two nations. That's why I spoke to President, I shared with leaders of the ANC to make sure that President Ramaphosa understands that being a part of BRICS is not a good thing. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, if it's about trading with those nations, that's great. But if you're talking about creating another currency that's designed to devaluate the U.S. almighty dollar, as President Trump said, that's no good for the economies of the world, and that's a problem.
Mark, before I let you go tonight, I'm personally very, very excited about your findings, and I hope President Trump is also, thinking through what you told him, and perhaps considering the whole white genocide claim as false. But in your opinion, would you say the whole white genocide claim in South Africa was a propaganda? And to what end would you say it was?
Well, I think that there's some truths to what's been said. Again, I'm speaking as a minority in America. Remember that Black Lives Matter, that white cops were killing black people, it wasn't as exaggerated. It was exaggerated significantly. Were there some cases that happened? Absolutely. Were there cases of white officers killing a black innocent individual who was unarmed? That has happened throughout the ages of America. But were white cops actually targeting black people as in genocide, trying to kill black men? Absolutely not. There were way more good cops black and whites, Hispanics and all, that protect and serve our nation. But that was not the narrative that Black Lives Matter stood for. The narrative was that black people were being hunted down. Right. And they were being targeted. So let me just say this. It's important that you understand this. Are there some cases that white people are being targeted in South Africa because they're white? I wouldn't doubt that's to be true. And so my prayer is that all South Africans be protected. But there absolutely is no white genocide that's happening in South Africa.
How will your findings now impact the South Africa-U.S. relations? No more tension, do you think?
Well, again, I think that President Trump and President Ramaphosa's meeting reset the relationship between the two nations so that, again, the relationship has been strained. I mean, what President Zuma and siding with Russia and just the strain that happened on our relationship, the corruption that is happening, many believe that's happening in the ANC. And even under the current presidency, those things have to be investigated. But at the end of the day, President Trump is not the president of the world. Yes, America has the largest economy. Yes, we are the world superpower. Yes, President Trump, in my opinion, is the greatest U.S. president we've ever had in our lifetime. But he's not the president of the world. It is up to the South Africans to do what they need to do to protect their home and their lands. But I believe that our relationship with Africa as a whole, like the great nation of Nigeria, it's my second favorite country to go to. I've been to Lagos. I've been to Port Harcourt. I've been to Koza Ministries, and I've been to The Rock in Lagos, Nigeria, and Dr. David Ibiobi, Salvation's Ministry. These are, I call my brothers in the Lord. And so I know there's a lot of great work that's happening in Nigeria. So my prayer is that our relationships with Africa as a whole be strengthened. Removing China, removing Russia, and strengthening our relationships in the great continent of Africa.
You know what, Mark? You're welcome again to Nigeria. We're looking forward to welcoming you again. Thank you so much for your thoughts tonight. Mark Burns, televangelist and President Trump's advisor. Thank you.